Learning to play an instrument is something that could be very beneficial in your life. It could impress your peers or make you more well-rounded as a person. The flute, for example, is an instrument that I play. Ugh. It is a very easy instrument to get started on. Today I'm going to be demonstrating the basics of learning to play the flute and what you need to know to get started. The three things you need to know are the different parts of the flute and how to assemble it, finger placement on the keys, and proper posture when playing the flute. Number 1, the different parts of how to assemble a flute. So first, you have 3 parts. You have your head joint, you have the body of the flute, and you have your foot joint. Those are the 3 parts that make up a flute. How you assemble the flute is first you're going to take your head joint. Now you want to be very careful because you want to make sure not to touch this part where your mouth goes, because you don't want to get sick or get any germs. So you're going to hold it by the neck of the head joint. Then you're going to take the body of the flute. When you're handling the body of the flute, make sure not to grip a hold of the keys, pressing firmly so that they don't break. Make sure to hold the part up here where there aren't any keys, just to make sure that you're not damaging the keys. So what you're going to do, holding the neck of each of the parts, you're going to place the head joint in and push it in to where there's a little bit of space left. You don't want to push it in all the way because then it won't sound very good. Next, you're going to take your foot joint and you're going to hold it by the bottom, making sure you're not pressing on any of the keys. Now this one, it might look like it goes on like this, but you're going to take this long part right here and you're going to center it in the middle of all the keys on the body of the flute, making sure to press it in firm and make sure it's nicely centered. You don't want it off to the side or anything because it's going to sound bad. Okay, so now that you have your flute together, I'm going to show you how to place your fingers on the flute. So the flute is made up of a lot of different keys, but you're only going to be using about 8 of the main ones. So the first is your left hand. So all the keys above this little trigger key right here is what you're going to be using for your left hand. So your first finger is going to go on this small key right here. Your second finger, it's going to skip a key, and your third finger is going to go right beside it. And on the back of the flute, on your left hand, your thumb is going to rest on the thumb key. Left hand, 1, skip a key, 2, 3, and thumb in the back. Now on your right hand, it just goes in a straight line. You're not going to skip any keys. Key 1, first finger, key 2, key 3, and then your pinky is going to go on this first key right here. And then there are some extra keys you're going to use while playing. Like you might slide your finger over to this key. Your left pinky might use this key. So it's mainly just the pinkies that move. But all the other keys on here, you don't really put your fingers on them. They're just meant for tuning purposes. Usually if you press down on one key, it'll close another hole. But so to recap that, left hand, 1, skip a key, 2, 3, thumb, 1, 2, 3, pinky. Okay, and now for my last section is proper posture while you're playing the flute. So obviously you can stand while you're playing the flute. When you're standing, just make sure that your chest is up so that you have nice expanded lungs so you can take in more air. Make sure you're not slouched over. But if you're sitting in a chair, you want to make sure your back is not pressed up against the back of the chair. You want to make sure that you're scooted forward and that your feet are at a 90-degree angle on the floor. Now you can twist to the side. Usually I like to do that so it's easier to read the music that's in front of me. But some people just like to sit facing straight forward. Okay. Now that you have the posture in the chair, you want to make sure you're sitting up straight. Again, if you were standing, you want to make sure your chest is nice and high so you're expanding your lungs. Now when you're holding your flute, you want to make sure that it is not at an angle. You want to make sure it's straight, because putting it at an angle, putting it too high, too forward, too back, it's going to make the sound not as good as you want it to be. So you want to make sure it's in a straight line and it's not up or down. It's like level to your face. And this part right here is where you're going to rest your chin. There's a smaller part and there's a bigger part. Some people, they get mixed up and they put it on the smaller part. You want to make sure your flute is on, your lip is on the bigger part of the head joint. So again, make sure you have a nice posture, your flute straight, your fingers on the right keys, and you're ready to play. Playing the flute can be a nice way to just make sure that you're like a well-rounded person. It can, you know, even if you're filling out a college, like, what's it called? If you're filling out a college application, putting on that you can play an instrument is really good too. Resumes, stuff like that. But now you can say that you know the 3 basic ways to play the flute. Fingering, the placement of the pieces, and the posture. Thank you for watching my speech.